Okay, so go ahead and close your eyes and really, truly, when we step on our mat, it's an opportunity to sink into blessings. There's so much that is bestowed upon us of love and connection and beauty. And sometimes we need to remember that this is the milieu that we're living in. We can get caught up with all the challenges and all the worries and concerns, and ruminating over the past and ruminating over an imaginary future. And instead, let's see if we can just bring ourselves into here and now and feel the sense of your breath kind of flowing over you, washing over you, or within you. Allow the sense of fullness of your breath to arrive, where we have this sense of big open space on our in breath, opening our bodies, opening our minds, opening our hearts up. And on the exhale, we get to sink into that feeling of openness. So instead of a collapse, instead of letting the exhales sink you into collapse, let it sink you into softness and ease. Feel the shoulders relax. Feel your face, all the muscles, all the skin on your face start to soften and melt. Check in with the back of your neck and ease up whatever you can back there. Feel into the big open heart again. Allow your breath to kind of travel around your chest, that it's not just, the front of your sternum rising and falling, but feel under your armpits and in the back ribs and down by your bottom ribs, and just sense into the fullness of your torso. Notice if the attention you're placing upon the breath is helping you to drop away some of those, worrisome thoughts, or even just the ruminating thoughts of whatever's coming, your to do list, whatever's been. Can you use the tool of the breath to just bring you into the here and now? Even if the here and now is a little uncomfortable, maybe your body's not feeling great, maybe you're a little down today, maybe you didn't sleep well. Even if the present moment awareness is not fully joyful or free, can you be here? Place your palms together at your heart, and let's offer an intention for our practice. How can the movement of your practice, the focus of your practice, the breath of your practice give you what you need right now? Let's release your hands and let's find our way onto your back. All right, so let's feel into the stretch and length of your spine. And as you walk into the practice in this way where you're on your back, we do this, just about every class. We start out this way, and it's purposeful. For me, lying down is a way of letting go. So it's kind of symbolic that we get to release ourselves into our practice here. So find your breath again, reach your arms overhead, and maybe find that length of your spine, your side bodies. Maybe your hips are kind of one lifting, one dropping, getting a little bit of movement into the low back.
into the side bodies, into the shoulders. Breathing well. When you're ready, bring your knees into your chest and give yourself a nice hug. And it can be gentle, maybe bringing your knees all the way in is a little tender for your back. So just be where you are. And let's start with just a little bit of rocking left and right. Let's circle the knees, kind of rolling in one direction. Rolling in the other direction. And then rolling in a third direction, opening the knees away from the midline, bringing them back in toward the midline. Just feeling that movement affects not just your hips, but your pelvis and your back as well. And place your feet out long, or legs out long, starfish your body. Feel a big open space, reach into the space. And while you're here, wiggle your fingers and your toes so you know how far out you are in space. And then draw your knees into your chest and come up small and snug. Head comes up too. All right, twice more. Opening big and wide, feeling that giant spaciousness. And as you exhale, coming into a snug ball. One more time, feeling big and free. Exhaling, feeling small and tight. And release your head down onto the ground, right knee into your chest, left leg on the ground. Move about in your ankles and your toes, and don't forget about the good squeeze of your knee and also in the knee into your chest so that your hip gets a good squeeze too. All right, welcome yourself into your body. Say something kind to yourself about yourself. Maybe seek a blessing that has been bestowed into you today. Maybe you went outside and had your face in the sun. Maybe you heard some birds chirping. Left knee into your chest, right leg long on the ground. Maybe you got a hug from somebody you loved. Maybe you got to pet your pet. Okay. So whatever has arrived already into this day for you, let's be aware. And then one more time, when you're ready, release the squeeze of that left knee, arms and legs wide out. Exhale, knees into your chest, snug little ball. All right, put your feet on the ground, arms out wide. Let's windshield wiper our knees left and right. Where we're kind of finding that movement of your knees turning one direction, but not just your knees, your hips, your back, your ribs can feel this too. All right, pause on one side for a moment, just let a little internal rotation of your hip happen. And then pick it up and pause on the other side. Deep breath, maybe your head wants to turn the opposite way, maybe not. And then relax and bring both knees back in toward your chest. Let's come into happy baby pose. If your back's feeling vulnerable, try holding behind your knees first before holding on to your feet. Kind of allow your low back to open slowly. Okay, maybe a little bit of rocking feels good here, left and right. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe straightening one leg out to the side and kind of tipping over to that side. And then straightening your other leg and tipping over to that side. And that may not be available, and that's okay. So just be where you are. One more time if you're tipping. And then come back to a happy baby pose. Dip the bottom of the tail down so you restore a little curve in your back. And then release your legs, feet onto the floor, hands down at your sides. Round the four corners of your feet. Let's take a block between your thighs for a moment, any width that feels comfortable for you. And we're going to just have a nice gentle little squeeze of the block. Doesn't have to be big, just a little bit of a squeeze. And back and forth where we squeeze and then we release. And we squeeze and we release. Alright, release the block. Of course, you can keep the block if you want to. We're going to move into some flowing bridges here. So if you want to keep the block, you can. Feet grounded, four corners of feet finding their roots. Inhale, pelvis comes up, arms overhead. And then exhale and lower your pelvis and your arms down at your sides. Okay. Twice more, feeling your own breath flow, lifting up on the inhale and lowering down on the exhale. Just lighting up some of the muscles around your hips, feeling the lift, ground through your feet, arms come up overhead, and then lowering down toward the ground. All right, so put a block, I think we did this yesterday or Monday, but we're gonna do it again. Put a block between your ankles, right? So that you've, not between your arches, but between, your heels and your ankles at the widest width. And then we're gonna take a block at the widest width of the block in between our knees. So it feels maybe a little wider than you're used to feeling, but ground through your feet as best as you can. See if you can feel into the roots of this. And then as you're ready, we're going to lift the right hip up and follow with the left. And we're going to drop the right hip down and follow with the left. Now, you can do this, and get a foot off the ground or maybe an inch off the ground, or maybe you don't even get off the ground. But the height is not what's important, it's the movement. So right hip leads, we're hugging the blocks. Follow with left, right hip leads on the way down, follow with left. Allow your body to turn on some muscles. We often just want to use our glutes for everything in our lower body, so let's just share the burden and the wealth with our inner thighs, our pelvic floor. A lot of different muscles are coming into play. Even your low back muscles are going to have some different kind of sensation in them than if you lifted at the same time. All right, and then let's release and relax down to the ground. And we're going to go the other direction. So we're going to start with our left, lifting our left hip. Don't lose the block. Okay, you want to be active with both knees, both heels, and then dropping the left hip first, following by the right. So it's a little bit of a, gyration kind of movement of the hips. Hopefully you can find some articulation where you're really feeling one hip, your left hip lift first, and then the right resists as the left goes down first. So just kind of feel a little bit of spiral through your sacrum, your spine. We're still stabilizing with our feet and our knees. There's a lot of muscles that get activated here in your body. How's your shoulders and neck? Try to be at ease. And then relax and let's melt. Keep the blocks. Find your breath. And then we're going to do just a straight up bridge. Okay, so it doesn't matter again how high you go. We're grounding the four corners of our feet. Feel the blocks. Lift on up. And this is different than when we put a block between our thighs. You can climb a little higher on your shoulders if you want to. Ground to the four corners of your feet. Feel the blocks. Nice, gentle hugging. Lower our legs, our hips rather, back down. You're going to take your two blocks and put them on the outside of your knees, Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, let your knees fall out to the sides. Find yourself moving into your breath. So we haven't even gotten off the ground yet, but we've done a lot. So open up into your pelvis, see if all the waking in your muscles that are wrapping around your pelvis has helped you. See if you can relax into this pose and let your breath find its roots in your deep belly. Imagine the origination of your breath starting in your low abdomen. And return home to that place at the end of the breath as well. So just notice if you tend to not allow your belly to move when you breathe much. So, of course, our breath isn't going down to below our belly button. Our breath is in our lungs, but we feel our breath in our belly. We feel the movement of all of our organs, all of our muscles when our diaphragm moves. And the more we have access to this deep belly breathing, the more freedom our diaphragm has. We're going to move into some passive back bends later on. And so I want you to sense that the breath is more than just the lungs, that it really travels to the pelvic floor, to the abdomen. If we're able to root our breath deep into our body, not only do we gain a deep sense of self-awareness and acceptance, but we also heighten our intuition. We heighten our capacity to have perspective and perception. All right, let's bring our knees back up. Okay. And just to have a little bit of movement now, we're going to do right knee in, and then left knee in, and then right knee in. Nice and gentle. You don't have to do huge, but we're just getting some movement. And then end with 2 knees in. A little bit of rocking. And then we'll come over to our side and come up onto our hands and our knees. Now, as we find our way onto all fours, my hope for you is that you never go a day without a cat-cow in your life. So let's remember this pose as a blessing too. Something so simple. You can even do it in bed before you get out of bed. Okay, so feel into the movement of your spine. Let's start to get kind of beyond our pelvis now and move into the fullness of our vertebrae. Be very gentle with yourself. So, maybe you have some restrictions or some tenderness and you really need to pay attention to your boundaries of movement. And then feel free to move your body any way you want to move your body. Remember that you have a head that can move, shoulders, rib cage, sternum, collarbones, your pelvis. Lots of things kind of interrelate with your spine. And then we're going to pick up our feet and just windshield wiper our feet. So we're staying on our knees. Hopefully that's okay for you. If it's not, you can keep your feet grounded and just turn your torso, which is what we'll do next. All right, and then come to all fours. Of course, readjust your hands. You can come on fists, whatever you need. We're going to turn and look out over our right side. We're going to do this with the straight leg in a moment, but just feel that side body open. And then back to center and over to the other side. I'm going to go very gentle and slow today, so just feel as we move in subtle movement patterns instead of big, huge movement patterns. What are you feeling? Okay, so we're going to now take our right leg straight back behind you, curl your toe under, pulse a couple times to get your calf to open up, to feel the bottom of your foot. Try to, every time you have a new sensation, try to seek it, be aware of it, and then notice it as a blessing. Have gratitude. Let's cross your foot over the left, and then we're going to open up and turn and look out over the left side of your mat, stretching through that right side of your body. Let the root of your breath now live kind of in your side waist. And then come back to center. Let's find child's pose in between the two sides. Shake out your wrists if you need to. Feel free to move your arms in any comfortable position, legs in any comfortable position. Finding child's pose. Open up the back of your spine. And then come back up onto all fours and let's take our left leg straight back behind you. Maybe pulse a couple of times so you can feel that movement of your calf, kind of opening up your Achilles. And then we're going to cross that left leg over to the right. Square up your hips and your shoulders and then gaze out over the right side, looking at your left foot. Feel that opening from your hip to your shoulders. Breathe into the side waist. Let that be the root of your breath. And then come back to center one more time. Back to child's pose and let your hips, you can rock a little bit left and right if you want to. You can be still. You can have knees close, knees far, arms up, arms down. Finding your breath. All right, we're gonna take our arms over to one side, either side, whichever feels good, in this child's pose, and reach and lengthen. And now we might feel the side body a little higher, come near our shoulders and rib cage. See if you can anchor the finger pads and feel that stretch through the whole side of your body. Where's the root of your breath here? Where do you feel it the most? And then come back over to the other side, feeling that reach through your body. Root through your hand, feel the ground, give a little, just a little grip to the earth so that you have that ability to reach away from it. Where is the root of the breath here? And then coming back, neutral child's pose again. Arms up, arms down, wherever you feel you want to be. And then we're going to take two blocks and put them shoulder width apart from each other. Take your elbows on your blocks. Stretch back towards child's pose again. Elbows are on the blocks, and we're going to take our palms together and then stretch your thumbs toward your spine. And your hips can be high, your hips can be dropped back, whatever is comfortable for your knees, your hips, your shoulders. Try not to collapse your rib cage toward the ground. Lengthen it toward your hips. Breathe into this beautiful stretch for your lats, for your shoulders. Try to stretch your triceps, so anchor your elbow points and reach away. And then come out of the pose. Let's go ahead and find our hands back onto the ground. Move around in any way that serves. It could be a cat-cow, it could be a tail wag, whatever feels good. We're going to find a twist here. So lift your left arm up in the air. And then exhale and slide that arm under, feeling the twist. Again, in all these poses, only go to the place where your body is happy to go. Okay, so some of these poses, if your back is feeling vulnerable, it can be, a little challenging. So allow yourself to be where in the pose that's available to you, not to strive for something that's going to go beyond a boundary. And then if you can, drop your hips down, face the ground. Arm is going to stay underneath us. Just stretching your shoulder capsule a little bit. And if you can't rest your head on the ground like me, you can maybe put a block under your head. Allow the front joint of your shoulder to melt into compression. And then inhale, come out of there. Reach that arm all the way up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's switch sides. Right arm lifting up. Exhale, slide that arm underneath you. Find the twist here. Again, only going as far as your body says is the right place to be. We're always listening. Always listening. Every step of the way, we're listening to the feedback from our body. Where's the root of your breath now? And then when you're ready, come out of it a bit, hips toward heels, face the ground with your chest. The arm is still underneath you, coming into that shoulder stretch. So the front of your shoulder can sink into its joint. That AC joint, where your collarbone meets your shoulder blade. And inhale, reach that arm back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground, and let's find our way to our first dog pose. All right, so as you come up now off the ground, first kind of pose where we're off the ground. So let's enjoy this. Let's find some movement. Pedal your feet if you want. Move your hips around. Feel how you're anchoring your hands. Root into the index finger mounds, the inner parts of your thumb, you know, that crescent from thumb to index finger. Find that. Feel the length of your body. Feel your heart extend. Maybe come into a little more stillness when you're ready. No rush. If movement feels good, keep moving. Melt through your skull. Find the four corners of hands. Find the toe beds. Feel your roots. And then walk your feet forward. Come to Uttanasana. Have some blocks handy nearby. Coming into a forward fold, feel that deep surrender, let your head relax. Let's interlace your hands behind the base of your skull and just get a nice stretch through all your paraspinal muscles. So draw your neck down toward the ground and then in toward your torso just a bit. Ground the four corners of your feet, let your knees bend. And then release that hold, hands on blocks, extend to a halfway lift. Feel the heart extend forward, the thigh bones root back, spread open the bones of your feet and your hands. And then as you're ready, exhale and fold, bend your knees again, then relax your spine, let it waterfall toward the ground. One more time, a halfway lift, growing in length. And then exhale and releasing down. Maybe you come to a halfway lift and pause there before coming up. Maybe you bend your knees and put your hands on your knees to come up. Maybe you roll up, maybe you press up. Experiment with different ways to get up. Sometimes our back needs different things. Sometimes our blood pressure regulation needs different things. So find your favorite way that feels supportive to your body. Reaching the arms up in the air, feel the extension, lift your heart. Remember the blessings of the day. Offer one back. Okay, so as your heart lifts, offer your own blessing out into the day. And let's cactus open your arms, spread your wings, feel the muscles of your back body engage. And then exhale and round them forward. Chin tucks, forearms touch. One more time, feeling that extension. Open up to a big arc in your cactus arms, and then release your hands behind you. If you can't reach your hands into the stretch, you can always use a strap. We're going to take a deep breath and come forward fold. So if you're like me, you can use a strap behind your back, otherwise interlace your fingers. Feel your arms leave your spine wherever they go. Fronts of the shoulders, get a good stretch. Relax your neck. And then release your hands down. A halfway lift again. Extending the spine, exhale, fold, dog pose. Feel the reach of your body, feel the extension here. Maybe drop your heels and let those Achilles stretch open. Maybe lift your sit bones and feel your hamstrings lengthen. And as you're ready, come forward into a plank and hold yourself steady. Integrate into your core. Feel that there's a lot of muscles holding you here. Your serratus, your lats, your core muscles. Breathing well. All right, let's put our knees down first. Find the ground. Roll the shoulders a couple of times. Feel that mobility. Take your forearms in front of you. Elbows under your shoulders or maybe a teeny bit forward, and lift up to a cobra pose, and just be very gentle with your back. Feel the reach of the front of your spine opening like little windows opening. And then exhale and release your body down. Put your hands under your forehead. Let's stabilize your core here. And we're going to lift just your right leg up in the air, keeping the core nice and stable so you can feel the grounding for your low back, that you can lift into some extension of your leg with resistance through your core that helps you stabilize. Lower that leg down. So zip up, pubic bone to navel, lift that left leg up. Feel the resistance of keeping a neutral pelvis, and we're not letting ourselves arc the low back too deep. And then exhale and relax. Lift both legs at the same time. So lots of work in our glutes to lift here, especially when our glutes have to lift against the resistance of our core, holding our pelvis stable. Feel your hamstrings, feel your glutes. And then exhale and lower back down. Take your hands next to your ribs now. Inhale, find cobra pose with that stability in your pelvis that you just found. Find it here. And then melt and release. Come up on tall fours and feel your spine move about. Wag your tail, roll around, anything that feels good. We'll find ourselves moving up to dog pose when you're ready. Experiment how you like dog pose. Do you like feet wider, feet neutral, feet together? Let's lift the right leg up in the air. Stack open the right hip so you feel that stretch across the front of your pelvis. Be mindful of what your right shoulder or left shoulder is doing. Where's the root of your breath? And square the hips up. We're going to put that foot down, other side, left leg lifting. Stack it open. Breathing well. Be mindful of your right shoulder. Relax your neck. Your knee can bend or your knee can be straight. Where is the root of your breath? Put that foot down, dog pose, and then walk your feet forward to Uttanasana. Inhale, come up to stand your favorite way. So, by favorite way, these are what I mean. I'll show you from the side. So you might, if you get dizzy, you might come up here. Pause here, let your equilibrium come, and then come up to here. Pause here, and then to come up to here. So you slowly let your blood pressure come back. Maybe you don't have any trouble with your blood pressure, but your trouble's in your back, right? And so maybe experiment, maybe putting your hands on your knees and then dropping your hips down and rising up, okay? Maybe a rounded pose up feels better in your spine, okay? There's so many ways to go about coming up from Uttanasana. So regulate according to what your body's needs are. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Find your breath. This time we're going to reach onto the right wrist with the left hand and find a little arcing over to the side. Side body stretches big and bright. And then come back. Grab onto the other wrist, over to the side. Feel the stability in your core. Remember those bridge poses between the knee, blocks between knees and ankles. Activate there. And then come back up and release your hands. We're going to step back to a lunge. Right foot comes in front. Okay, feel that extension in your spine. The heart is open. And let's go back and forth here, moving into your legs, feeling the hip flexors open and stretch, finding the fullness of your breathing. Just guide, so I'm putting my other watch on so I don't keep you all here all day. All right, now let's find our way into a lunge and ground here. All right, lift up. Find the reach of your arms, crescent lunge. Now remember those back bends we did where we were stabilizing with our core. Use your glutes, so engage those back glutes.
but counter it by lifting your pubic bone toward your navel. Feel the roots of your front foot. Lots of strength in this pose. Breathing deeply. Let's find that little bit of an arc here. So grab onto the left wrist. We're up and over. Stabilize. Find those blocks between your knees and ankles again. Find the root of your breath. And coming back to center. Back foot comes forward. Fold. Maybe your knees bend a lot. Maybe you like a half lift. Find your transition. Coming to the other side. Left foot is in front. Feel the extension of your spine. Let's go ahead and bend and straighten the front knee. Feeling your pathways in your body through the breath. Let the breath travel through your body. Let the movement occur because the breath is guiding it. And then feel your roots grow again. Drop into your feet. Okay, come on up when you're ready. Same thing applies. Press your front heel down. Feel the glutes of the back leg engage. See if you can stabilize your pelvis with your core and your glutes. Reaching the arms up if your body does that. Feel the extension. Ribs lifting off your hips. Rounding your hips to the floor. Find the origin of your breath here. Where's the roots? When you're ready, you can reach onto that hand. Left grabs right. Reach a little bit over to your left. Find those imaginary blocks between knees and ankles again. Find the root of your breath. Okay, coming back. Hands down onto the ground. Dog pose. A full breath here. Feel that extension in your spine. Notice every time you come back to this pose, what's shifting and changing. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Find your sturdy self. Put your knees down onto the ground. Find the ground. Any back bend of your choosing. So find the way you want to be. Breathe your way into the pose. Exhale and release to come back down. Up onto all fours. Swish around in your spine. All right, we're going to come onto our right shin and take our left leg out. Gate pose. Okay, so you can have, if my foot can reach the floor, but my ankles tend to be flexible, so if that doesn't work for your body, you can put a block under your foot. Try not to turn your foot forward. Okay, so a lot of times people think they should, if to get their whole foot on the ground, they turn their foot forward. Keep your foot turned, pointing toward the short edge of your mat. Notice if your hip wants to push out, draw it in, press your shin down, reach on up, arcing over to the side. You can hold the back of your neck. If you tend to get tense there, you can reach your arms up, or arm up, whatever feels stable. Press your shin, feel the stability of your pelvis again. Find the root of your breath. Okay, come back up. Let's go ahead and put your knee down, other knee down onto the ground. Take your right foot out. So our knee and our foot line up, our toes are down or on the block. Press your left shin into the ground so you're stable. Reach that left arm up. Feel the extension through that side. You can support yourself with your hand on your leg. Try not to push on your knee and hyperextend. Find your breathing. If you tend to hyperextend in this pose, you can always take a block on an angle under your shin too, so that you can be supported here. There's lots of ways of going about supporting yourself if you have joints that are unhappy. Keep pressing that left shin down. Find the root of your breath. Okay. Coming back up, finding your way into child's pose. Hips come back, lengthen through your spine. Check in with your spine. All right, come on up. We're going to do a couple of back bends here. The first one, you can either have a tri-fold blanket, like a accordion fold, or a rolled blanket. Don't let this go too high. You don't want the height of this to be too strong. So we're going to take this under our side. You might need another blanket or a block for your head. And we're going to put this underneath our rib cage on the side of our body. Your head can, we've done this with the ball before. You know, I think most of you have done this with the ball with me, but we're going to just do this with a blanket now. So put your arm that's underneath you in a comfortable place. Let your head rest down on a blanket, a block, whatever support you have found. And let's begin to straighten our legs, okay? Now, if you find the straight leg version is a little too much for you, then you can bend your knees. We're gonna reach our other arm overhead. Now, I don't have room because I have a couch, but I have a perfect couch for both me to put my hand on top of. Some people, if their bottom shoulder can accept this, can have both arms overhead and put a block between their hands. I find that difficult on my shoulder, so you do you. So support this pose as best as you can. And once you get comfortable, knees bent, knees straight, legs, arms, whatever you got going on, breathe into your ribs. We're gonna find our way over to the other side. So you can just kind of roll over if you want to. And same things apply. Put your head on a block at whatever height feels good. Put your arms wherever feel comfortable, legs wherever feel comfortable. If straightening your legs is a little much, bend them. Okay, there's no rules here. Find your comfort. Arm can be overhead. If this is not a happy place for your shoulder, you can try bringing your arm straight up in the air or putting your hand on your hip. So find pathways. We're just trying to get into our rib cage here and let ourselves breathe. So a lot of times we think of back bends as really affecting the spine, and of course they do. But a big portion of what happens also happens in our ribs. So let's just kind of prepare our ribs here for some mobilities and for some, we feel compression on one side here and openness on the other. All right, now we're gonna come out of this. I'm gonna redo my blanket because now I want it to be in a rounded fold. All right, so we're going to do a series of back bends. You guys have all done this with me. We're gonna start with the bolster in between our shoulder blades, and we're gonna travel then down to like kind of at the attachment of our diaphragm, and then down once more under our sacrum. So we're gonna start with the bolster underneath our shoulder blades, kind of right under the spine of your scapula. If you're not sure where that is, it's like that bony ridge. But we don't want to be up in our traps. We want to be under the bones of our shoulder blades. Now, you can do so many different variations with this. Your knees can bend, your legs can straighten, your feet can be in Baddha Konasana, your knees can knock together. Find whatever is comfortable for you. And same with the arms. You might feel comfortable with your arms overhead. You might feel comfortable with your arms in a cactus. You might feel comfortable with your arms straight out like a T. You might feel more comfortable with your arms crossed over each other or your arms down and hands on your belly or your chest. Okay, so find a pathway that's really good for your body. And now we're getting into the spine a little bit more. Melt into the base of your skull. Make sure your upper traps can be a little free. And find the roots of your breath. Then we're going to travel down a little bit. We are still under our shoulder blades.
I forgot to say, maybe I didn't forget to say, I don't know, but you can put blanket blocks, something under your head if you need it. Now that we're at the bottom edge of our shoulder blades, you might feel this a little bit more deeply in your diaphragm. So find your comfort first. Where do you want to put your legs? Where do you want to put your arms? And once you check in and make sure your neck's happy, your spine's happy, then find your breath. Where are the roots of your breath now? Can you feel, any little nooks and crannies along the bands of attachment of your diaphragm loosen and get free? And then when we're ready, sometimes it's helpful to just drop your arms down, roll to your side and move the blanket. Other times you might want to just move your body. So whatever feels good to you, we're skipping the rest of your back and going right to your sacrum. We're going to start this with knees bent, feet on the floor. Just get used to having a little something, something under your sacrum, like a low bridge. Notice your chest, your ribs, your upper back, kind of what's the residual from what you just did. Melt your neck, let your head get heavy. And then once you're kind of settled into this new posture, find the root of your breath traveling down toward your pelvis. And you might decide, I'm super comfy right here. I'm just going to stay right here. Maybe one leg straightens and you experience a little bit of a hip opening, one at a time. Maybe you feel pretty safe and comfortable in your body right now and in your back, where both legs straightening, heels on the ground, can feel comfortable for you. So try and experiment with what positions you want to do. Arms can be in any comfortable position. If you want to have your arms overhead, that'll give you, a little more fullness into the back bend, but you don't have to be there. Where's the root of your breath? And when you feel ready, and maybe you're not ready, maybe you're like, oh, I love this, then stay a little longer. Otherwise, take the blanket out, knees up, feet on the ground, arms down at your sides, melt into neutral. Receive what is to be received by those poses. Fill your breath and empty it. And let's begin some gentle windshield wipering of your knees. And then when you're ready, a fuller twist. Move your hips over to the right, knees come up, drop left. You can always put a block or a blanket under your knees if you can't go all the way to the floor. Turn your head, melt your shoulders. Back up, find neutral, pause in neutral, take your time. Don't go right over to the other side, feel neutral, and then shift your hips and drop to the other side. Turn your head, breathing deeply. Coming back to center. Right foot on left knee, reverse your pigeon pose. You can hold your, sometimes I just hold my foot. Sometimes I reach back behind my hamstrings. Sometimes I reach to the front of my shin. Wherever you're comfortable. Let your head melt. Enjoy the openness of your hip. Feel free to rock a little bit left and right if it feels good. It's 2 feet on the ground. Experience neutral again. Find the root of your breath here. Then come back to the second side. Left foot on right knee. Maybe you reach to your shin. Maybe you reach behind to your hamstring. Maybe you hold your foot and knee, whatever feels good. Melt your neck and shoulders and your head. Feel that your low back is nice and neutral. Release. Back to neutral. Feet on the ground. And then ask your body what you need before Shavasana. Do you need to bring your knees in or not? Do you need to just stay here in a neutral position for a moment? Are you ready for Shavasana? You can have a moment in Supta Baddha Konasana like we did in the beginning. Just find your pathway to move into Shavasana. And let your body go slow and steady into this deep pose. Maybe you need some support under your knees or under your head or anywhere. Maybe you're a little chilled and you could use a blanket. Whatever it is that you need for a really lovely Shavasana. Once you settle, again, find the root of your breath. Another root of breath again. Enjoy the fullness of breath. Free to move, wiggle any part of you that's going to help you transition well. Eventually coming to your side, finding your way up. As you come to a comfortable seat, let's take a moment to close your eyes, find your breath again. Notice how your mind and your body, and your energy and your heart and your emotions feel compared to when you began your practice. Let's place our hands together and offer this energy outward. Let's send our love and care to another. Namaste. All right, thank you, everyone.